Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Laughing Stock. Sorry, it was a quick opening. I accidentally forgot to upload the correct video there, so my bad. But either way,
we will save it to next week.
Yeah, we'll use that stock next week because I'm sure it won't go back up by that time.
Yeah. So no, it's all good. How you been, Dane? We couldn't do the weekend last weekend, so it's been 2 weeks since last time.
Yeah, things have been going okay. You know, you guys, as I'm sure you saw the last week, I focused a lot on the charts just because I've been really working on that side of my, I don't know, investment strategy. So, but like I said, I really like the charts. It really helps me screen. It really helps me look at stuff that's kind of like closer to a catalyst type thing, because I think that's one thing that I always find really tough about value investing, especially deep value investing, is the fact that a lot of times when you and I are looking at something, it seems like we look at it and then it could go like 3 or 4 months before something happens, and then when it does, it's really quick. So the one thing I like about using the charts is, like, you know, I'm using the chart to basically screen along with things I've already looked at, and then, you know, I'm trying to catch that catalyst as it's about to occur or just occurring, and then that way I'm getting into something much closer to that movement, not you know, either I'm averaging down for a few months trying to hold on to something that I like, or you know, you miss a big chunk of that move and then you don't want to go into it because now it's above what your margin of safety was. So just that's kind of what I've been throwing into my strategy. And this last week I did well, and I mean the markets weren't bad, but it wasn't a great week. I don't know how much did stuff move. I didn't even really pay attention.
No, I streamed on Thursday and I saw the dashboard was pretty green then, but I didn't really pay attention all the days last or this week, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the overall markets did catch back up this last week. So it was a pretty good week for, this is the S&P.
Yeah.
So, but I would say either way, I captured a lot of this move probably in some of the stocks I owned. I mean, obviously I don't own S&P 500 stuff really, very, very rarely, just because it's usually too big for me. But either way, just in general, if you're using this as kind of like a market thermometer, somewhere around there. And sorry about my dashboard, guys. I had an error this morning, so stuff didn't update, so don't look, because I saw Coco, it said it's up 32%, and I'm like, what? was like, that can't be right. So these numbers are wrong. Don't look at these. I was like, the Coco's back again. It was like 30% move in a day. I was like, there's no way that's right.
Yeah.
Let's get to the portfolio.
You texted me about PLCE this week. It had 100% day, and then I think the next day went up 25%, and I think it kept going.
You don't have to remind me.
No.
Yeah, so I got stop lossed out on PLCE, and I want to just point out in terms of stocks I've been looking at and things that I went in and got stop lossed out of, which I obviously need to adjust my stop losses. But this is the weekly movers. PLCE was one that I got stop lossed out of, and I got in on that initial day. It was already up in the morning by about 40 or 50%, and I got in right in at the open. Now it dropped down, and I should have set my stop loss or just waited a little bit. But I didn't, and of course it got stop lossed out and then continued up another 50% that day, followed by another like 30% day, followed by another 25% day. So that one hurt. That one hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
NNE, this is another one I got in and got stop lossed out on. Now I don't know what the hell is going on with this ticker because that's wrong, but it's nuclear energy. That was another one I got stop lossed out on, and it kind of brutal because it was a really good mover this week. I think those were the two big ones, but my point being is those are two big stocks, like two of the biggest movers of the week that I was in on. So it's giving me some credence in terms of I normally don't look at that kind of like stock that's jumping at the moment, but I've definitely changed my strategy to appreciate those stocks, especially if you can get in and just you have to set a stop loss. But the thing is, I'm not taking huge positions in these. I'm taking maybe 5% positions in these. So if I set my stop loss on some of these stocks and I'm down, let's say I set my stop loss at 10% or something like that. I think I set it at only like the opening lows on those days, which they triggered. So I should have set it at like 10% because a 10% loss on a 5% position ends up only being like maybe like 1% of your portfolio or 0.5% of your portfolio, which to be honest, if I missed one or two of those and I'm down, 1.5, 2% on like a few wrong picks, that sucks, but it's not a big deal. PLCE and NNE, which what did NNE end up doing? Hold on, let me and I was in on somewhere in here, and don't get me wrong, it did go up and come back, but then it went right back up. So I think I was in at like 14 or something like that, or I don't know. I think it was on this day. Oh no, this was all yesterday. No, I got in somewhere around here, somewhere around 12. So it would have been a huge move to capture in just literally 2 days. So either way, it leads credence to the idea of going in on some of these things just because it's got such strong volume and stuff like that. And there is something to it. A lot of times you can check the news pretty quick and see if something's turning around in those moments. But either way, so those are two stocks that, for instance, would have been up about, what was NNE? And I mean, NNE was probably like a 50% mover since I had bought in. PLC was over 100%. So my point being is those would have been massive gains in comparison to the possible loss of like 1% of my positions. Like, who cares? So the risk benefit reward on some of these is definitely worth it.
And some of the YouTubers I've been watching now with this swing trading strategy, they say like they are fully aware they're not going to be right every time, but that if they are right 1 in 4, like 20 or 25%, those are the ones who will blow up your portfolio positively. So these are the moves that I just think it's good that even if we miss them now, we are using the right screening tools, I think.
Right. No, I agree. And like some of my other big winners this week, PCT's been huge for me. Gas has been really good for me. Gevo was really good. Kira Sushi was really good.
Oh, Jivo.
Kiri's been
Were
murdering
you in
it.
Jivo?
What's up?
Were you in Jivo? Those are the one who bought the plant I told you about before the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Just like a little tidbit from you, and then I see that price movement, and to me, that's just signals a buy. I check the chart real quick. The volume is there, which means everybody's interested. And this is one of the things that in my head I've been thinking about. For instance, if like let's pull up Jivo for a sec, because Jivo is a good example of.
How did they move on Friday?
27.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good moves then.
So Jivo, I got in on Thursday, so I probably got in around like 86 cents because that's the opening. So somewhere around there. And like, this is the thing. Normally this would have kind of scared me after this huge gain, but this is on a million volume. This is a stock that's average volume is around 3.7. And this is from yesterday, but the day before, just look at the month volume so I can kind of get an idea there. Like, I don't know. We're just talking millions of volume here essentially on some of these stocks. So the thing is, if you think about it, if big money's moving into this, and a stock normally moves at 3 million volume and it's up like 17 million in volume, things like that. When something's moving that much, it's not like anyone's buying $1 million or millions of dollars of these things and then is going to sell that like right away. These people aren't traders. They're insiders. They're institutions. These are big market movers. So when they start to buy into these positions, they're buying into it to hold it, or at least go to the next quarter or till the news or something changes. So if you can piggyback with those guys, like me, I can kind of get in and out on these swing trades. Those guys can't. When they buy, $5 million worth of something, they can't just get out of that position. It's too much. So that's kind of given me the tolerance for the risk to go in on some of these things. And like I said, I usually take about maybe a 10% position, sometimes 5, sometimes 15, depending on what it is. That's kind of how my ranges have been starting. And then from there, I just kind of scale back the position. So after like the 2 or 3 days, which is usually or 3 to 5 actually is usually what it is that initial big jump on most of the stocks. Like when you look at the charts, that's when I start to trim the position. And then as long as the chart holds up, I'll keep that position for the whole swing. I'll try and hold it until it really starts to break down. But that's why I said I like the strategy, because it opens up capital then for the next thing I find to go into, because you're holding this stuff, or most of your position, or let's say 50% of your position for 3 to 5 days, and then you get that capital back out, which you can then reinvest into something else, and it kind of compounds decently quick.
Yeah.
Which we can see that this week was a 5% week for me, which is the goal. Which puts me back up to 9.17 for the year. So overall, a decent week. Not anything too crazy, but good.
But also keep in mind, when you say for the year, you didn't start in January tracking this stuff. These are more like in 2 months.
Yeah, sorry. This is I think this was like 3 or 4 months I've gotten the 9.17. So not bad, and obviously it's fluctuated, so I don't want to base much on just 1 week. But I will say, since I've really been adjusting the strategy to add into the swing trading elements, it's definitely done well. It's performed well, and any of my losers quickly get outmatched by the winners.
Yeah.
And the ones I've missed, like I said, are ones that I wish would have held up. It was just the stop loss kicked me out, which for safety reasons is fine. One for instance that didn't work out is CSBR was one I got in and got stop lossed out of. And I mean, you can see it did end up moving 13% yesterday, but I got in on, it might have been, no, that's it might have been Wednesday. I can't remember if it was Wednesday or not, but it must have been Wednesday. So I got in the morning. I think as it started to pull back up on this, I got in, and then it broke down, so the stop loss triggered, and it rode for the next day, and it is back up from that point, although it's back down in after hours again. But either way, is my point being is like you can see that like it's either going to take off in the story, whatever has changed about it, and this one just had great revenue. So it was just more an earnings type move, but it's kind of broken back down. So this is one that like if you get stop lossed out of, oh well, it's not the end of the world. The other ones I was picking this week. In my other portfolio, I forgot to in the Discord I said I bought INVX, which I did, but it's in another portfolio. So I was like, I probably shouldn't have said that in the Discord since it's specific to more this portfolio. But INVX was another one that did pretty well. So
yeah,
yesterday wasn't as impressive. But either way, because I was on. Yeah, I guess this one's been bouncing around. But either way. But this is another one too that like, you just keep your stop loss going forward. If it ends up working out on the chart, great. If not, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. And you still keep try to keep like how many you have there now? 17? No, 15?
15, yep.
Yeah. Do you try to stay around 10 still, or have you loosened up on the
I would say it's going to be anywhere from like, just depending on how the markets are, anywhere from like 8 to 15.
Yeah.
Maybe a few more. Like I said, it kind of depends because as you sell things, like you hold them through the rest of the swing. So some of this stuff like Curie, I've been in Curie for a while. And if you look at the chart here on Curie, on this last big move it had, which was this day, I sold a lot at the end of this day because, just that's such another big move that I feel like you should just take advantage of it. And then I'll continue to hold until it breaks down past that 10-day moving average. But like I said before on the stream, I'm like, this is one that's following the path so well. It just screams buy based on the chart. And then once again, it got to where it compressed, and since it didn't break down, it took off again. I'm telling you, I know it sounds stupid, but that's what so many traders look for.
Yeah.
So if you're in on this initial move, most traders are now trying to hop in on this next move, which, you only benefit as a longer term shareholder, as more of a swing trader is what I should say, or a position swinger, however you want to. Same thing with Curie on this first move up here. You can see. So, if you're able to get in somewhere on this where the news is taken off, or even on this day early on, you ride it for a while, and then once again, it failed to break down, and the rest of the traders see this move, and then they all pile in.
Yeah.
And then you have this long flat period where everything kind of consolidates, and then you can start to see it break out again. Which I know it's just the chart, but I'm telling you it works. So. But yeah, so either way, the portfolio was in decent shape. Like I said, Jibo had another great day. PCT had another great day. Just slowly trimming some of these.
Do you have a big cash position now too, or are you everything is invested, or what?
I have about 40% in cash.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Not bad.
No. The next thing I think for me personally also, when I've said this before, I think, but because of some of the fees and the amounts I can put in right now, it's not really worth it for me to go fully into this exactly the same style as you do, but I am developing my style to be able to do this in the future when I can put more money into each trade, so the fees doesn't eat me up so much. But I think then it will always be very important to have portfolio management and keep control of the cash. You need some cash at any given time, right, to jump into stuff that opportunities that you find, because we have talked about it before. Like sometimes you need to be quick when things moves here, because you might only get that one chance.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is, like I said, as annoying as it is, I miss some things because of my stop loss. This happened to be just a good week overall for the markets. Some of the stuff that was moving was really moving. So I know in the weeks where stuff's going to be down, that those stop losses are also going to really save me sometimes. That you're going to get in on something that looks great. It has decent fundamentals, or you've liked the story for a while, and then finally it has like an earnings beat or something finally changes in that morning or that previous night, and the stock starts to really move from the news, and you're going to get in on it, and then for whatever reason it's not gonna work out, and it's going to be more of just a trade type environment. And on those days, when you get stopped out, you're going to be happy that you did place that in there no matter what. So that's like,
and it's easier.
What's up?
No, it's easier to remember the ones you missed out on, right, because of a stop loss, than the ones that maybe saved you.
Correct. So, it is what it is, but either way, like I said, the risk balance in my mind mathematically works out pretty well. And this week, like I said, it's done pretty well. And don't get me wrong, there's ones in here that did not work out. Clearside, which is right now still a large position. I got in on, and it's pulled back, and it just hasn't stop lossed yet. Now you can see the weekly chart looks good. So obviously we're still in the first part of the move here, but I think I got in somewhere on this day here, which might have been kind of late, but either way, it's pulled back a big chunk. So we'll see. It might not work out. It might, if it continues to break down, I might have to just sell this one for a loss, but we'll see. It's not really a huge rush, but obviously it's been a good move in general. But and what really interested me on this day, and this is why I continue to not worry necessarily about this day, is because we're pushing through that 200-day moving average, which usually is a good sign. That's usually a good sign, but who knows? It did start to turn around on the MACD, which worries me a little bit. So it might end up being a stop loss, but it is what it is. And that's a biotech too. So this is me really relying on the chart here.
Yeah.
But
so I've seen that you're not so careful anymore with like, for example, biotechs or banks and stuff like that. It's more like the chart is steering you right now, right, with this strategy.
Well, yes and no, because still, no matter what, I will not buy something unless I can come down and see this, that so they have the final participants in their phase 2 trial here. So there is good positive news on this. The trial's through, and now we're just kind of looking to see how the results will come out from that. Now, this could be one that it could plummet on hard. So that's why I said you got to be careful, because some of these can, and that's why you don't put all your thing. But think about it. It's right now, what was it? It's like a 7% position or something like this. So in the idea of how the chart looks, in my mind, no matter what, it should bounce back. And give you some of those gains. I'll probably trim some on that day that it bounces back. Now, if this gets down to like a 5% position from here, or 4% position, let's say tomorrow the news comes out from that report and it's horrible and the stock goes down 50%. It's still only a 2% loss for me on my whole portfolio. So in my mind, even a terrible event like that normally would kill your portfolio if you were super concentrated, who cares if it's down 50%? And I'm down 2 or 3% overall, like, yeah, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world.
No.
So it kind of, this portfolio management allows me to go into things that before I wouldn't have touched. So just something to think about.
Yeah.
And if it works out, then, I mean, it's going to have that 100% move in the other direction.
Yeah.
And like I said, too, the other thing, too, is if you look at the chart, overall on the week, people are bullish on this idea. Like this is one day to look at, but let's, you just zoom out here. I mean, this paints a prettier picture.
Yeah.
So, and I always think it's important to zoom out. You know, so many people, especially traders, are focused on the day-to-day movements. You know, I want to pull out, I want to look at this, I want to go back to the monthly chart, which you can see on, you know, the last time we had these huge green move here, you could see the same thing on this one. And like I said, there's not much to go off of. It's just news, which means it's all just market sentiment. It's not, there's not fundamentals here. That stuff doesn't come into play with this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter for that kind of play. So I think that's another thing too, is recognizing the ones where the fundamentals are going to drive the story versus it's narrative based.
Yeah. That's also interesting with this method though. Like you can have different styles within the style, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like some of these picks are fundamentally based and you know them well and you're waiting for something and you want to be in them and the chart looks good, you know?
Right.
And other ones are like just like momentum driven but they both follow the strategy that we are doing right now. So it's just cool, I think.
Yeah, and you know, part of it too is like after missing Nutex with value, one of the things that made me realize is like no matter what, whether the problem with Nutex is even if you read the transcripts, even if you looked at all the fundamentals said not to buy yet. It did, so you obviously had to know the narrative. Now, management, the time before that had said things were going to work out, but you still had to trust that management was going to be right and that things were actually going to turn around. And the thing is when earnings finally came out and they actually did hit the revenue surprise that management was talking about, it wasn't even earnings, it was just sales. It was just that they're still working in the right direction. I will say the one thing that Value pointed out that was extremely intelligent on his part was the fact that the CEO was piling his money back into the company, which shows you that management is on your side. So that did kind of argue that point that you don't know if you can trust management yet. But either way, my point being is, like, after looking in that, I'm like, you know what, the chart for me would have agreed with Value's story. And that's why I've started to appreciate the charts more, because you can tell me both sides of a narrative, and it's really tough sometimes for you to determine which narrative is correct. But the stock market is going to put their money where they believe the story is correct. And whether it works out or not, what's more important is that you follow a strategy that if it does work out, you profit from it. And if it fails, you don't get murdered by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of been the way I've been adjusting, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
What you got? What do you got on ALTO? You're our ALTO correspondent.
Yeah. Well, I covered it on Thursday, but ALTO had a good end of the week, like in total. And look, if you pull up the chart, Dane, I think it looks good on the chart now.
I'm pretty sure last time I looked, this screams buy.
Yeah, and you know, like we touched upon a bit, was it Gevo, the ticker? They bought a plant with carbon sequestration already in place. Yep. So that plant was a bit more developed than in terms of that than what ALTO has. But you know, that's what we're trying to. That's what they are trying to get to, and they sold that. I think I saw Justin commented that he think they underpaid for it, and he was arguing like this means this is a good indicator that ALTO can easily get $1 per gallon for their Western assets. So it's just to see nice to see things are moving in the sector, in the space. And you know, since February there are multiple examples now of plants changing hands, and I think it's hard to argue against. I think management has been very clear that they are looking to sell the Western assets, but they are also saying that they could keep them because they are happy with the performance.
Yeah.
But to me, that just screams like a little bit of a negotiation tactic also. You don't want to be desperate to sell your assets, you know. They want to, And ALTO management, they are conservative. They are always, he even said like, what did he say? He said under promise, over deliver, right?
Yeah.
So when they speak in public, they are always very careful. But there are points that, to me at least, indicate clearly that they are looking to sell, like actively sell the assets. And I know a lot of people came into ALTO like around a year ago, and that they got burnt on it. But if you go back even a year before that, they have proven that they have sold assets in the past, which was very successful for them. And if you go back to that year when they sold the Stockton plant, which was in California, I believe, the Q4 in that, like the following Q4 was amazing for them. They came out and guided. They updated the guidance in January, and then they delivered on the report. So and these are the same people. You can believe what you want, but these are the same people that were doing that stuff. So, like I've said all the time, it hasn't all been bad with this management, and it's nice to see now that things are moving, and you have something to compare up against. So I think it's not direct news to ALTO, but it's just something. The only direct news that ALTO had was they had a presentation 10 of September that I was watching, and I didn't get a lot out of it at all. Again, they were very careful. He got questions about what he said on the Q2 report, where he said like they were going to update the market on the performance after the upgrades they have done. And there was an investor, they asked him directly about it, and he said he just doesn't want to make any public statement about it at this point in time. And then, of course, you can interpret that in any way you want, but at the end of the day, that's just going to be speculation. So I just, given the history they have, I think you will hear something either close to Q3 or at the Q3 earnings call. I'm kind of there where I just have to wait now till November.
Yeah. I will say on the chart, it looks really good. There's a lot of symbols, and I know it seems like nonsense, but everything looks good here. If this is able to break out on Monday and push through this moving average here, which is the 100-day, traders are going to take that as an extremely bullish signal. This is, like I said, I've been paying attention. I'm trying to see what everyone's looking at, trying to figure out, from every strategy that most people take into account, that's something that they would be looking at. But once again, look at, you got the lows now touching that 10-day moving average. The Bollinger Band is right with it, and now it's starting to break through 50 and 100-day. The volume's starting to pick up, and MACD looks like it's turning around. Those are all signals that's going to take off soon.
And they had a great Q2 report. I don't care what you say. That was a good report. And the guidance was even better, So and I feel like it's a bit weird that that hasn't reflected in the stock price yet.
Yeah, but
I think
it has
will,
actually. I think it has actually, because I really think that, okay, if you look at this chart, what I see here is you see this overall just huge downtrend, which finally starts to turn. And it gets exhausted because it's just a lot of people trying to figure out what's going on here. Yeah. And what this chart says to me is it got exhausted. It's pulling back now because people are, they're like, it's a little bit of a jump, but no one really trusts the story. But now you're starting to see that whoever's left in this is starting to add to their positions. So I think this flat period right here, I think this is the market saying that, people aren't really quite sure, but they're waiting for something to happen. I think if anything is bullish, that this takes off, and this already tells me that people are starting to get interested in this again.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I was going to. Like, I think you will still see that price going up towards Q3, because I think at some point you need to make a decision as an investor. Do you want to be in before the report or after, Because it can be too late after. not too late, but you can miss out on a big move if they deliver on that Q3 report. I mean, how many people are waiting for that?
Yeah, and to be honest, last time it had a positive run up to the earnings report where we anticipated really good news. We pushed all the way up to the 200-day moving average here. So we're talking around $4 right now.
Yeah.
And this is the weekly chart, which the weekly chart also to me says it's just starting to break out. So I think you could probably see some current resistance on these lines here. I think that's where I would set resistance right now. But in general, I think, I mean, you and I know the ALTO story. I think we're just waiting for this next earnings to finally show that things are really turning around. But I think the market, in anticipation of decent earnings, is going to start to appreciate the stock price. This is the one-day chart. I bet we could see a good move up to here, to the 200.
I also think that I think it will stabilize around $192 before the Q3 report.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good call. Which also, what is that on the $2 is the 50-day moving average on a weekly.
Yeah.
So I bet that's a good area that you'll see this move up towards, which is a pretty good gain from here.
Which is a good gain, but in my opinion, still way undervalued.
Yeah, but if people are talking about getting interested in this right now, that's a 30% gain in a short amount of time, probably.
Yeah, it's in a short amount of time, and
then possibly a double from there.
Yeah, and this is also a thing, though, and I'm not saying anything, but we know they have talked about selling the Western assets, and you will never know when they're gonna do that.
True.
So let's say that some positive news will come before the Q3 report, and okay, maybe the chance is not high, but it's not a 0% chance that they won't do anything. Just look at when they sold the Stockton plant. I think it was in between Q2 and Q3 report. I think it was like in October, November. So,
Yeah, I agree. And there shouldn't be any one-off charges coming through. So I think you're going to see this free cash flow pick back up to this range between 60 and 30 again. Which could push earnings back to positive. So, I get book value around like 350 right now, which I think is relatively fair. And obviously, if the market starts to anticipate a better environment for them, that's why I said I could easily see this appreciate back up to $4, somewhere around that range, just on the fundamentals. Yeah.
And I just want to read, Justin posted something yesterday on his article. He said $3.2 per gallon is huge, and they are talking about the deal to Gevo and Red Trail.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying there is absolutely no reason why ALTO cannot get over 100 million for the Western assets, just over $1 per gallon. And he has been saying that for the entire time,
Right.
So, and people, I've said this before, people think people try to push Justin down a bit because he has gotten some stuff wrong, but I disagree strongly with that. I think he has done a fantastic job on ALTO as well. Mm-hmm. But my point was, what you cannot say about Justin is that he doesn't do a good job in terms of doing research. So he's not pulling the numbers just out of thin air. This is there's a lot of work behind his comments and his articles and all that stuff. Yeah. And then you can disagree or agree, but you cannot accuse him of being way off on something because he hasn't done a good enough research job.
Right. And I agree. If anything happens like that, I guarantee you we get back up to the $7 or $8 range.
Yeah, that's what I think also. And I see people throw that around like $7-8. And remember, Jeremy Raper, there has been a lot of good investors involved here.
Jeremy was thinking it should be above 6, right?
6.5.
Yeah.
And that was if they sold the assets. A lot of people have been involved here, and they see the value, and then okay, now we need to unlock it, and we repeat this till it gets boring. But it's a show me story right now for the market, it seems like. And but the thing is, we are not far away.
No.
We are very close now. And for me, I've been involved since 2021, and my timeline has always been 2024 to 2026. So I'm very excited now in the coming months.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, I really think that next earnings report could be huge. And I agree with you. I think there's going to be a bit of a push up towards it as people kind of anticipate some decent news coming from them. Finally, some turnaround. So it's only a few months though.
Yeah.
So we are on the precipice.
Yeah, we are. And you know, we are still sitting here now, or I am at least talking very, like, I feel very promising about this company and that they gonna deliver, but there's always a chance that they will mess it up again, and something wrong has happened. Maybe there's been another fire. What do we know? You know, so there's always risk involved. I just think if they have been able to avoid any catastrophic events, there's no reason that they can't deliver this time.
Right. No, I agree. I will definitely have them on my watch list on Monday. And
yeah,
if I see some decent price movement in the morning, which really only needs to be a little bit positive, I'll probably reopen my position, because everything to me is screaming that we're just at the start of a good move.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like you said, it has been sideways for so long, even after a good Q2 report.
Right, and don't get me wrong.
Which is also exciting, right?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. It could still move sideways a little bit longer, but I tend to find that as this 150 days start to approach the 10 and 20, you're getting close to the point that something's going to happen. Like it's that just means that the market right now is just kind of waiting. You know, like something's basically under the hood. Which we know the story, so that's what I see. But we'll find out. Who knows?
And another point, just to end it, like that I think is maybe a little bit under communicated, is what is priced in at these levels. You know, how big is the risk now to jump in before the Q3 report? Because right now there's no doubt that the stock is priced in, that there's going to be that they're not going to deliver on the Q3 report.
Yeah, well,
and of course it can always drop more. That I'm not saying that it won't drop more, but that's when you maybe put the stop losses and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, I think where we're at. When is this loan due?
20, what is it, 26 or? No, because this is like when they start to withdraw money from it, it starts to, you know, the clock starts, and they haven't done that yet.
So what is all their current debt? So they still got this 90 here.
Yeah, it is around 100, I think. Hold on, let me check in Justin's article.
Because I feel like, you know, if book value is around 350 and you have another 2-year timeline, that's why the stock's about where it's at right now, is because the runway, based on the amount of debt that they have and how much cash they have, you know, it's how long can they survive before they have to either heavily dilute or do something to change. Now, interest rates are going to come down most likely this following week. Which I would imagine for a lot of these companies is a bullish thing, because it gives them some breathing room if they have to adjust their debt. It won't be so harsh on them with these interest rates. But
yeah,
which even a 50, or just I guess just say a 0.5% decrease in the rate. I always think it's stupid that people use basis points, but But I mean that's to me that's why the stock's there. It's just people are they're going to put that risk, which is basically just the the optionality of it, the fact that it's going to liquidate possibly in a few years and or punish stockholders. So people price it accordingly. Like that's the risk.
No, I can't find, like, he's talking about the debt in one of his earlier articles. I just know that they took on that debt, and it has like a structure to it where as soon as they start to withdraw money from there, the rates and stuff like that doesn't trigger before they start to use it, and
Gotcha.
they haven't used it yet.
All right, you want to keep moving on? I know we've covered ALTO to death probably.
Yeah, I just want to mention though, I just checked ECDA. I took a position a couple of weeks ago, and I saw value was in them now as well. Value that is here watching the stream, and Courage tweeted that he was going to travel to their factory, and I just saw he replied to a guy who said how was the meeting, because he was meeting with the CEO also. And he replies on Twitter like, it was great. I just shared a bunch of photos from the trip with my Seeking Alpha group. I will probably share some photos next week. So we're going to get an update from him in the next week, I think, on what he thought about the factory and everything. I know he is a big fan of the CEO, so that's going to be exciting to hear.
I thought I saw those pictures somewhere. They might have been on X or something.
No, he has taken a lot of pictures on the latest article that he wrote about them as well, because he was traveling to an event that they had. So this is a second trip.
And this one has kind of been all over, although I will say that this looks good.
If you look at the chart there, Dane, it doesn't look bad either on the 1 year daily.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit all over the place. This chart's a lot harder
It's all
to
over
read.
the place. It's a low volume stock.
Yeah, definitely low
And,
volume. Although I will say it's a low volume stock, but the past few days you have seen a small tick up in the volume.
Yeah, and they also made a deal, collaboration deal with a company now that's going to deliver them some engines for one of the new models. So I'm just I just really like this one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay too much attention on the chart because this will be a longer term play for me.
But even here, I mean, on pretty small volume, look how much this moved.
Yeah, up to 175, I think it was.
Yeah, something. My chart won't even show it. It broke out of the damn chart.
There's a tiny flow too, and in the article to Courage, he is talking about some. There's something going on with the price that he can't really put the finger on,
Yeah, didn't this have a decent short interest?
Yeah, I'm not sure with the short interest, but there's something with, there was some comments about, I didn't really understand it fully, but they went to market through a SPAC, and a lot of them sold after the lockup period and got completely out, but there's still a lot of insider ownership there, and there was some comments about how they. I'm not gonna try to explain it because I'm gonna sound like an idiot. But read the article. He goes through it there in the comment section.
Yeah, and they have a pretty good runway right now.
Yeah, because they had a really good report. And then the risk is, of course, will they be able to expand and introduce the new models to the market like they expect to? Will the factory fire on all cylinders? They can go up to 180 cars now to produce, and I think that's from 98. So it's a lot more cars.
Right.
And even if they can turn it up to 125 to 150 cars, that's still a very good increase in production.
I saw a couple people comment that they thought 150 to 160 for the cars on the if like things went really in their favor. So
yeah. So, but 180 eventually, you know.
Right. It's definitely it's an interesting business.
Yeah, and average price of a car is $350,000. So it's only, you know, celebrities, rich people that are their customers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a cool YouTube channel where they even post live videos from the mechanic shops. But they also show you the whole entire process as a buyer, from designing the car in a, you know, a PC program till you deliver it. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else on ECDA or?
No, just I know Value took a position.
Yeah. Yeah, and to anybody on the Discord, I keep forgetting. I'm trying to update my portfolio a little more often. I didn't do it on Friday because I figured I'd do it today. Once again, there it is. If people want to see it, I did it in alphabetical order the first few times I posted, but I'll start doing it by percentage. That was kind of dumb on my part.
Yeah.
I saw you guys posting, and I was like, oh, I should have done it by percentage. So I'll start doing it by percentage going forward. But it's cool to see Value posted his portfolio on there. It gives you a good idea because it lets people know that like when you're talking and you're pushing for these things that like you mean it, your money's there, and that you have some skin in the game essentially.
For sure.
You know, you can see even on my portfolio here, some of the stocks that are more risky, they at least have insider buys or something. Like there is other things I'm looking at on some of these stocks that are making me interested in a lot of these things. So we'll see. It's obviously going to be a learning environment here. And the one thing too is it's nice to reflect on some of these positions on which ones worked and which ones didn't, and then go in and trying to figure out where, like what would have been a good signal that it's not going to work out versus the ones that did work out. So either way. So the first one I had pulled up is AZUL, which is a Brazil-based company. Obviously, it doesn't have much for fundamentals just yet, so the reason I pulled this one up is just to check the news, really. The one thing it does have is a good price to sales. It's a foreign company, being it's in Brazil, but it's an airliner operator under the AZUL brand name, scheduling flights between numerous cities in Brazil. Just list those. In addition, Air Network comprises international routes to the United States, Europe, and other Latin American companies. Has a travel package business in addition to the airfare side, which offers accommodation, transfers, tours, and vehicle rentals. Also has some subsidiaries, which manages a loyalty program for them. So not too much. Oh, actually, you know what? My thing's off here. They only file month or yearly. Hang on. I was like, why is it so?
No, I saw your dates, but mine is a bit fishy too, because there's something going on from 22 to 23. There's a big jump in all the numbers here, so I'm not sure what's going on in my data set.
There we go. That looks a little easier on the eyes. Revenues are growing really steadily, so they're increasing sales. Margins are definitely picking up. Book value is still really negative, so I believe they have a ton of debt. So, typical airliner.
Yeah.
Struggling with staying. And I will say, they've been highly unprofitable some years, but it is a little better. They're generating some cash flow. So it's more just getting them into a better position to get out of here. But I did want to just see what's going on with the news on this one, because
it's up 33% almost.
actually I already have Yahoo open.
Oh, they are like restructuring the debt. Yeah, so they seem to avoid bankruptcy. I think that's the news.
So under the new plan, the leasers would get an equity stake of about 20%. The majority of leasers have already signaled they would approve the plan according to the report. So obviously this one's a risky one.
Yeah.
But it never hurts to pull up a chart, right? So you can see long term, this isn't a real downtrend. So this is definitely a tough one. But a lot of volume on the news. But could be working on a falling knife. But I wonder how much of a runway that gives them.
Well, then it seemed like the next was 2030.
So it's one of the 3 dominant airlines that didn't file for bankruptcy protection after the COVID-19 attacked the industry. The company was able to push out maturities through a bond swap in June of 2023. Still needs to address lease obligations and high interest payments, though. So the business itself is still probably going to be in a tough spot.
Never been a fan of airlines.
This one's definitely tough.
Yeah.
Maybe this one's a good case study, just to keep an eye on it, see what it does.
Yeah. You get the added foreign risk also for me here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Brazil definitely has foreign risk, especially currency-wise, too.
Yeah.
I just want to update this in my database real quick. Oof, I rated this really harshly last time I looked.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep bankruptcy risk in there. Even though they restructured it, that's still the reason why the stock's kind of trending. I'm gonna adjust this from somewhere around there, 2 and 3. I think it could be worth in the nearer term. I don't know. It's a big move, but I don't know if that's enough of a story that changes my perspective. I guess I'll bring this up to a 2 since they most likely will be able to restructure that, which would get the bankruptcy currently off risk, but also a 20% equity stakeholder. So I don't know if that will actually increase the share count, which will lower all the metrics too. So we'll have to see.
It's still a lot of work ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is you want to talk some deep value.
Yeah.
About as deep as it gets.
Yeah.
Here's one we've heard of.
PBF.
PBF is up next.
Big inside buys. He just continued to buy and buy and buy, and we are talking like 25 millions every purchase almost.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. See, in September alone, like 40 million, 24 million, 26 million.
Yeah, 22 million owned. So up to about 20%, just
And for
shy.
people who don't know, this is Carlos Slim from Mexico.
But overall, I mean, the company's looking great. Strong
Yeah.
dividends still. It did get rough during COVID, but it's going to pick probably right back up to historical highs. Book value looks great. Cash flows, earnings, everything looks good. Not quite as the crazy year that they had last year, but still. Retained earnings, excellent.
Yeah. I think, for valuation, what do you think here, Dane?
I do want to check the chart. I'm getting anywhere from... I technically have it at almost a discount right now, and I have it going as high as 60 on my valuation metrics.
Yeah, I was about to say around 70, but maybe that's a bit high. But again, it wouldn't surprise me.
Still looks... it's still kind of in a downtrend, but it looks like that's starting to flatten out. We've had a few times here. I will say it looks like we could see a start of a move here, but very early. I would definitely... This one's definitely a good one to keep an eye on, just based on the chart.
Yeah.
Weekly...
That's one of the things that has been like postponing me for getting an entry. Is like this clear downtrend it is in, on the chart.
But it does show if he's still buying down here. I mean, to him, he's averaging down, and then he thinks this is a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
So
and that's the counterweight to that,
Yeah, and I mean, just look how perfectly it touched the 200-day moving average and just bounced right off that.
Yeah.
Like, so like even the technical people saw that and they're like, nah, it's not going past that.
Yeah.
We're oversold. It looks like MACD's starting to turn around. So I would even say on a long-term chart, it looks like we could be at the very early start of a move.
Yeah. I agree.
On the monthly, we're at the bottom of Bollinger. So...
And historically, this is in the back of our heads when we talk about PBF, right? A solid company.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, this we rarely get to look at ones like this.
Yeah.
Where everything business-wise looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tempting, I have to say.
Oh, it's always on my watch list. If I start to see a breakout from here, this is another one that it's kind of a guaranteed buy for me. And please do your own due diligence. I know we've been talking this whole stream about buys and stuff we like, and don't just buy these. I think GSM was one of the ones I said last time I thought looked good, and in hindsight it doesn't look as good, but it has not really worked out. So there's going to be times where it looks good to me, and it just hasn't worked out yet. So it's still failing to pick up down here. So no matter what, although I still continue, I still stand. It still looks good. We're just waiting.
Yeah. And we are talking from our perspective. I also have to mention, I said I've been involved in ALTO since 2021. I'm down on ALTO in total. I lost money on it. So, but I'm trying. I'm still in it because of the reasons that we have talked about. So.
Yeah, but that's what makes a good investor is you can ride through the rough periods. You trust in the business.
Yeah. So do your own research. We are talking from our point of view, and that's why we have this stream. We have to talk about what we think, and we are always transparent and talk about our if we add something or sell something. So that's the goal here.
Yeah, I would like to just going back to that real quick. I would like to see it just finally found a base somewhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just keeps falling, right? And but if you go back though to 1st of May 2023, and then 5th of December 22, we are at those levels now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's traded for a while through these. And it did break down here, but that's only because last year was such a solid year. This,
Yeah.
This was pushing up towards, its high range of value. And you can see it's pretty cyclical. I mean, and maybe he's right. With him buying so heavily down here, this could just be a much bigger cyclical swing.
Yeah.
But you're talking, we're saying on the high end, this could get to 60. I mean, that'd be a double from here.
Yeah, it would.
So
in the last 12 months, I have 400 million almost inside the purchase.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's so rare that you see these kind of numbers.
He's buying another oil company as well. What is the ticker? Is it Talo?
Oh, Tallow, yeah.
Or OLN maybe? He's buying a lot in one of the other tickers that we are paying
Tallow,
attention
that's
to as
Tallow.
well. Yeah, okay.
And very similar businesses. So obviously he must know the space well too. I would argue this to me is someone who's throwing everything they got at a future cyclical move.
Yeah, like this is he and watch Roaring Kitty streams. He's talking about this guy a lot, but I think also he's talking about him in PBF. So that's how I know of Carlos Slim.
And I would argue too that Tallow also looks interesting here.
Yeah. Yeah, not maybe in a clear downtrend like PBF is.
Yeah. But also, I don't think cyclically it had gotten as overdone. Because like I said, people see this $24 in earnings per share. That's in 1 year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that very often.
Oh, true.
And this is a company, it's generating almost 40 billion again in revenues. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's no, I'm tempted.
Its market cap is literally 1/10 of its sales. I mean, that's wild to me. You don't see that very often. Not with a company that's this in general profitably.
Yeah. No, you don't. Oh, hey, Max is in the chat, Dane.
Hey, what's up, Max? How are you, man? Either way, I don't think I need to update much more here. I still like it.
Yeah, I like it, and I'm a bit like you. I've just tried to see where it starts to flatten out, but then once again, when he just continues with these massive purchases, it confuses me a bit because he's obviously more successful than I will ever be probably, and he's just buying and buying and buying.
Well,
so,
it just like I said, that's just huge conviction for him on his side, and we'll just have to see. The crazy thing is he can buy that many shares, and you don't see the price just go crazy from it.
Yeah,
so
that's true. And I mean, it's in my sheet here. It says 6% from the 52-week low now, and it has bumped up to 25% inside ownership. So.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, I find it interesting.
Yeah, PBF is definitely on a list to follow, and we have pulled them up on the streams lately. We have done this. We are keeping a close eye on this, I think.
Paul's saying that it's about as cheap as it can get. Where we got Ronald saying we're at the very. He said more downside ahead. So it's definitely people are trying to figure out where we're at in the cycle. I mean, you know, that's the obvious argument here is what's going on in the future. You know, management has said revisions are down right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But it does seem pretty wild. It's down quite that much.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a. You can think of it like this also, like Carlos Slim is probably doing. Like, you won't get this chance again in PBF.
Well, and for Slim, who's dropping $20 million a purchase, he has to kind of average into these kind of things. He's way too big to just like, you know, take a big position like he wants to, I'm sure. So in these general downswings, I imagine he's probably like giddy right now. He's probably happy because in his mind, as this continues to trickle down, he's just getting excited. Because it just keeps going in the direction that he wants it to as a long-term investor.
Yeah.
Next I got Sleep Number Corporation.
SNBR.
SNBR.
Yeah.
It's been I think a little bit since I looked at these guys. They had one insider purchase in the last month. It's kind of been struggling off and on here. The last year hasn't been so great for him. Was there good news on this?
No, I don't see anything on Seeking. I can't find anything.
Just a big move yesterday, huh?
And no insider purchase. Maybe there's been some activists or something.
Yeah, just I mean, pretty good volume the past few days here. Is anyone talking about this? So that's another thing I find like lately. I'm like when I see something really moving, it's like now it's like the search is on to try and figure out like what is going on, like what's happening with it.
Yeah. No, but that's when you showed your portfolio. You were saying like even when the chart is good, you need to figure out like there needs to be something else, right? Like an inside purchase or something.
Yeah.
If the fundamentals are not the best.
You know, some people are just saying Stephen McAdam or Macadam, however you say his name. You know, ever since he bought, it's up 33%. This guy's saying so. You know, just saying that the guy's just nailing it.
All right. I would like to point out also a 16% short interest in this.
Could be a bit of a squeeze.
Yeah.
Punched up 23% on 2 times normal volume. Could be a short squeeze. So yeah, other people are saying the same thing that you just did. So
yeah, I don't see so much talk about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm checking stock tweets now. And there's a very helpful comment in. Someone knows something.
Well said. I want to know what that person knows.
Yeah.
That's my goal here. Well,
yeah.
So what is this looking like on a chart? Wow. Look at that move in the past month. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it looks good.
Or 2 months, I should say, but...
Yeah, since beginning of July. It's more than a double. Or a double.
And it looks like we might be at the start of a next leg up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, what does someone know here? Like, this chart looks, doesn't this chart look crazy?
So someone actually knows something.
Someone has to know something here, because, like, what in the world is causing this? What was their last earnings report?
It was in August, no, end of July.
Did they triple the size of the company?
No, but the stock price went up on that day, from like 11, 12 to 14 and a half, and then pulled back, and then has gone up since then. And the volume starts to build now too.
Yeah, I do wonder though. Is it the shorts getting out? Because if you were short this, like, you know, anywhere in here, even around here, I mean, you could have been short for the past half a year, and now it's starting to get painful for you.
On Wall Street Journal, there says like short interest reported 30 of August is 16.22%, and that's a minus 5.40% change from last time they reported it. So
Gotcha.
it seems
I
like
noticed,
maybe they are selling out, or I mean getting out of the position.
I noticed if you scroll down on Seeking, I finally realized this is it does tell you the short interest on here, which is nice.
Oh, really? On Seeking?
Yeah. If you scroll down, there's a risk category which gives you like a Z-score, 24-month beta, and gives you the average days to cover. And
yeah,
but kind of nice. But it still says 16%, and I would imagine that wherever these come from, what does it say? Does it say anything? Just share short.
Oh, here I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
that's good. Maybe they should have that placed more up, I think.
Well, I mean, whatever. It was just nice to know. I started scrolling down the one day, and I'm like, man, they actually have a decent amount of little stuff in here.
Yeah, but Seeking Alpha is awesome, I think.
Yeah, Seeking Alpha really is a great, you know, and
Yeah.
you and I, we do pay for it, and we're obviously not sponsored. They don't know who we are. They don't care who we are. But
no one knows who we are.
Great website.
Yeah.
Yes, no one knows who we are. That's very true. One day we'll have our Roaring Kitty success.
We are working on it, right?
Yeah.
One day I will buy a car from ECDA. That's the goal.
One day you'll buy ECDA.
Maybe even better.
You just gotta keep believing. So I just want to see this guy's final comments about his risk or his conclusion. I'm looking for asymmetric, low risk, high reward opportunities. Given its strong brand and fundamentally solid business model, Sleep Number could be a multi-bagger from the currently depressed price levels if it survives the economic downturn. However, its elevated debt level and recently negative free cash flow makes SNBR a high-risk investment and thus a no-go for value investors. Doesn't mean it's not worth a gamble, and obviously it's all dependent on your personal risk, he's saying. He said he placed a bet in more of a trading portfolio, and he's using some optionality to kind of hedge his bets. And he keeps his position size to only 2%. So obviously for him, it's a long shot that they're also saying too, since this is another one that if the debt's an issue, lowering the interest rates in our country is going to be very bullish news for some of these companies.
Yeah. And I saw Value was making that same point in the Discord yesterday, that something like that can have a good effect on a lot of things we are looking at,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a good interpretation of what's going on here. And if they're able to restructure their debt at a lower interest rate, it could put them back into positive cash flow territory, which, I mean, you know, you and I were just, well, I was saying, but you look at here, and last year, yeah, they got really hit pretty hard last year and even a little bit the year before. But historically, I mean, look at these numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. So the problem is this debt. They're way over levered.
I was trying to look at the, Fintel for if there's some activist investor buying them, but I couldn't find them there. Just trying to figure out if it's something more here.
Yeah, like I said, this is why I've been kind of just going by some of the stuff. The daily movers, I've been pretty happy with the daily movers lately, because I feel like it kind of allows you to peek in and really look under the hood on some of these ones that are moving and try and figure out why.
Yeah. What was the name you said that they were saying that some guy was buying in SNBR?
Was it purple?
Yeah, because I the new website I told about, like the Data Roma one.
Uh-huh.
I searched on the ticker there, and it says like super investor stats, ownership count 1, and it's Maverick Capital, and they added almost 20% recently.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's meaningful.
Purple looks a little bit rougher. But had a good day at the end of the week. I don't know what it did on the week. Just up a little bit. Nothing really screams yet on this one.
Yeah.
But maybe bouncing off lows. You good to move on?
Yeah.
All right, next I have APPN Corporation. It's a software company that automates business processes, operationalizes artificial intelligence with low-code design. It's engaged in helping organizations build applications and workflows with a low-code automation platform. Its integrated automation platform enables organizations to transform the way they work, blah, blah, blah. It's basically improving the business process for everybody. And trying to do it in a low-code style, so probably not as energy and data intensive as like a high-end AI system would be. Its patented data fabric architecture delivers a solution enabling organizations to make informed decisions and route processes from a 360-degree view of business operations. Its self-assembling interface layer, nicknamed SAIL technology, allows its customers to create intuitive user experiences and deploy them across the web and mobile devices. So very, very tech. Revenues are up.
And big insider purchaser, like multiple insider purchases from the same fund in the last year.
It's like I use insider purchases to find a lot of my picks.
Yeah.
This Abdiel Capital Advisors is loving them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is some pretty big ownership here.
I'm checking Whale Wisdom now, and they have pressed the wrong button. The last filing was 26th of August, and then they have a 24% ownership, and it's their second largest position in the fund. It seems like, but I just checked now, they only have 2 positions. So,
well, either way, okay, so they're concentrated. That still means a lot.
Are listed with two. They are listed with 2 different funds here, and so they together they own like 50% of this, I think.
Wow. Okay. So huge ownership. Yeah. So the other thing too is maybe they really see some promise in this technology. Which we're in the AI environment anyways. One thing that's kind of interesting here, just me spitballing an idea here. Imagine these guys come up with an AI service that really quickly allows me to come up with like a mobile app idea, and then I basically like I spit that idea out, and this just makes the app.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine like all that work that would save in terms of like you building a mobile app. Like if I could just say, hey, I want an app that does this, and this program just makes it for you.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
Would kill a lot of would kill an entire industry almost.
Well, it might lead to even more innovation and actually better products.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, some of the people who are in the weeds, but you got to think most of those people, this would save them time. They wouldn't want to use this service.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like you can sit there, think about it. How long do you think it takes to design an app? Months?
Yeah, a long time.
So, you know,
and money.
Yeah, so imagine that, you know, you could pay for a service here instead that makes the app in like a week for you, and then over the next course of like 2 or 3 weeks, you guys just are like tweaking it, making it better and better.
Yeah.
But it, you know, you're able to launch an app in like 2 or 3 weeks as opposed to like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
saw
huge.
I think it was a TED talk about this topic that he used AI to create the app, and like you said, right now it's that game didn't end up being very well or looking very good, you know. So I'm sure there's huge potential there to improve that stuff.
Yeah. Got some strong bouncing going on here. This looks pretty good on a chart.
Yeah.
We're breaking above the moving averages, close to 200. And a strong day, a strong gap up right here.
Yeah, it does have that. Tanked on earnings.
Well, it's still that's the thing is it's still not proven yet. I mean, you can see the fundamentals.
Really like what I saw there. And they show up as levered as well, but they do have some cash though. But that's pretty normal with a lot of these tech companies, right? That they always keep a good amount of cash.
Yeah, I just wanted to pull up their recent 10Q and see when that debt's due.
Yeah.
Whoops, my gosh, I'm terrible at clicking today. All right, $100 million credit revolver facility, which matures in 2027.
How's your OBS, Dane?
It's saying it's obviously still working, but it's saying that YouTube's not receiving enough data here. So sorry guys if the connection's a little off.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I did just close some stuff. I'm trying to keep it working here.
Yeah. 2027, I think, is one of the maturity date.
Yeah, they have a secured loan, and I hate when they don't list exactly when that loan's due.
Yeah.
Like I know I can go into this 10Q and find it. Well, I'm forbidden from going in it. Never mind.
But it seems like they are paying pretty low interests on these loans, though.
I'm not even allowed to look at it. So.
Oh, really? It says the credit agreement matures on November 3rd, 2027. But that's the revolver.
Yeah, that's the revolver. That's right. The secured. Dare I go to FINRA and see if it's under here?
Are we allowed? The way we have spoken about FINRA?
I hate FINRA. They ruined this website, and it still annoys me.
I tried. To everyone watching, I tried to reach out to them. They didn't take my feedback well, so I sent them an email.
I hope
They
it was
disagreed.
I hope it was a nasty email.
They disagreed with my points. They thought the website was very good.
Yeah, look how good this is. This is great. Thanks, guys. No, I don't think it's actually a bond or anything like that. I think it's through some bank. But either way, it's tough to know, and for some reason I'm forbidden at looking at the 10Q. So I really don't know when that matures. So that kind of puts a real damper on my ability to hedge my risk here, because I don't know how long our runway is. It's at least 2027 for the credit agreement, which they had 60 million pulled out of 100, so they have 40 million more that they can play with. How much cash are they burning a year? About, is this, sorry, sometimes it's hard for me to say, about 40 million. So they got another year if taken from that credit facility if they need. And I will say the past 2 years have been pretty rough, and it looks like it's getting a little bit better. They spend a ton on SG&A. That number needs to change.
Yeah.
And a lot on research and development. I mean, the whole company is getting eaten alive on these metrics. So I don't know. I mean, the insider here is the one thing it's got going, but book value is negative now. It's trading obviously at a ridiculous premium to any kind of metric.
I give up. I can't find the depth information. I tried to search in some of the articles.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, I think there's insiders here, so, of course, but other than that, the only thing I kind of like is how it looks like on the chart.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a story.
Yeah.
Do you like the story or not? You know.
Yeah. And do you know about this fund?
No, I haven't really looked into them all that much.
They have a very cool website.
Their website? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Stop pulling that out. Is this it?
No, I mean the fund.
Oh, the fund. Interesting. Abdil Cap. Whoops.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like every one of these companies just has like a big picture and it's only like 2 or 3 links.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to scroll and it's like, oh, you can't. But I was reading also there, and it seems like they like a bit like deep value or value guys. They think like owners.
Well, I mean, what they say on here is in our vein.
Yeah. Sometimes when you have those things, you know, big inside purchases, and you don't see. I like to just check out the fund like you just did now to see the type of style they have at least.
Yeah, no, I think that's huge because honestly, insiders buying in is one thing, but insiders that buy with, I mean, and these guys are definitely deep value because they're talking about future
Yeah,
free cash flow metrics.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
there's not much to go off of here,
No,
so
it isn't.
they're really projecting,
Some
that
growth.
this is gonna totally turn around and really generate some revenue.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to be fair, in the past few years, its revenues are up quite a bit.
Yeah, it has turned around a bit, but just a bit early for me to, I would like to have something more to look at here.
Yeah. Overall, pretty interesting though.
Yeah.
Um,
Already a big market cap. I didn't notice that until now.
what was it at?
2.4 almost billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the stock price is $32.
Yeah.
All right. This is one I have not looked at, which looks like it's pretty early on. This one might be more news because I'm not quite sure how I got into my mix of things to look at. But it provides a cloud-based software platform suite of products for financial providers to transform consumer banking and streamline their workflows for their teams. Operate through two segments. The BLND platform segment comprises a suite of products that power the entire organization process from back-end workflows to the customer experience. Includes software platforms, the planned builder platform, which offers a set of low-code drag-and-drop design tools, modular components, and integrations to allow its customers to create and deploy their new product offerings. While the title segment is for products and services such as instant titles, other title search options, insurance solutions, closing and settlement solutions or services, mobile sign-on, e-sign capabilities, various cloud. So anyways, the whole IT side of banking and insurance is what these guys are working on.
Yeah.
Send this to the old database here.
They've actually improved their margins quite a bit from last year, and I think that's reflected in the chart a bit.
Yeah, I would agree. That's definitely kind of what we're looking at here. Revenues are still kind of down. Pretty early for much in terms of earnings and metrics and all that kind of stuff. It's burning cash, but a lot less than it was.
Yeah, and it still has the cash position. If you look at the debt, they have control, I think.
Yeah, they actually have gotten rid of the debt, so they're in a good spot in that aspect.
Yeah.
Anybody talking about this?
I'm checking the press release just real quick here.
Had a good day on Friday. Oh, they have a stock buyback announced.
Okay.
Wow. So Blend Labs soared 33% early afternoon trading on Friday after the digital platform used by banks announced its first stock buyback, issued strong Q3 guidance, and delivered better than expected Q2 results. They adopted a $25 million share buyback program. Expects consolidated revenues of anywhere from around 40 million and net operating earnings to be down to anywhere from 4 to 7. Midpoint is at 5.5. EPS was about 50% better than what they expected. Total revenues topped the consensus, but we're still down from the previous year. Its customer banking suite generated $8 million of revenue in Q2, representing a 37% year-over-year growth.
Yeah, I'm going through the press releases, and it seems like they are adding a lot of customers.
Yeah, I mean, this move is obviously just on the story there, which is fine, but tough to really have much conviction in anything on this.
And it does trade quite a bit from the lows.
Yeah, and I would say just on the chart, this is a pretty strong looking breakout.
Yeah, I saw on the daily now, it starts to look really good.
But yeah, a pretty good week. Oh, I typed in APPN. Well, still a good week for them too. And it looks to me, I mean, if EPS is only down by 2 cents, they're close to profitable.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a ways to go, but you know, I mean, if you look at their earnings per share over the past year, it's down by 48 cents. So a minus 2 cent for the quarter. I mean, that would mean this number could get down to minus 8 cents.
Yeah.
So that's a massive move in the right direction.
I see. I checked on Twitter if someone was speaking about it, and there's some Swedish people talking about it. I'm just reading through it.
You can always trust the Swedes.
Or can you?
I don't know. That's what we got to figure out.
Yeah. But this guy is very bullish, at least.
This comment says Blend will reliably trade at 4 to 6 times sales like most SaaS businesses. Once the current mortgage slowdown passes, its revenues from that segment can grow at about 25% for many years. It's hard to find a stock that can offer reliably a 20% price appreciation for years to come. It might trade down to under 3 in a market sell-off, but that would just be a bump in the road if you bought today at 340. Stock will be $6 in 5 years and $20 in 5 years after that. Wow. And a lot of these people are saying like this is an incredible business mortgage environments in a long time.
Yeah. These Swedish people were talking about an article on Value Investors Club as well. So
Yeah.
there's a piece there on it for everyone who is interested to read.
Okay. Good to know.
And his big points is like he's saying, they are asking like, is it some write up out on the internet, and saying like, yeah, there are someone seeking alpha, but they underestimate the power in the decline, you know. And he's saying like the refinancing situation has gone on 2 year down with 82%, and purchases is on 2 years are down with 49%. And then he's seeing like a turnaround now, and these are recent comments, you know. So I think he's looking a little bit same stuff that we are looking at now.
Yeah. Like I said, the chart looks good.
Yeah, it does. But it's a bit hard, like in my position right now, when I don't have the fundamentals to lean on, I struggle a bit to go in on the chart. Like I think you do that more than me lately, which I'm trying to get there to that point where I can do that, you know.
Yeah, I also
Um,
too on those days when I'm going to take a position, like let's say that on Monday this one starts to take off in the morning or has like a decent little gap up and it continues to kind of trend up for the morning. That if I'm going to
yeah,
take my position there, you know, I might only take maybe a 3% position, something like that, and then
yeah.
that way if I get stop lost out, not a big deal. If I catch any of the move, it's still a decent return. But you know, you don't have to put a ton into some of these names, and if they hit,
No,
you know,
everything counts.
hey, no matter what, when it comes to compounding money, if you're just continuing to move slowly in one direction, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
The math does the rest of the work for you.
yeah.
I'm gonna say I like the narrative. It needs more. It's too young. Still has poor fundamentals, but I would say it's somewhat cyclical.
There has actually been quite a bit of insider purchases, but it doesn't come up in my sheet because the amount is too low. It's like below 20,000 per purchase.
Gotcha. I mean, the monthly chart even looks really good.
Yeah, you can see it has turned around, right? A bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I think it could be anywhere from like 250 on the low side if things don't work out or kind of get rough, up to like $5 in the nearish term.
Yeah.
All right. You got time for one more, or it's 9 o'clock here?
Oh yeah. Yeah, up to you. I can do one more.
All right. Yeah. Let's just knock one more out. Is there anyone that you specifically wanted to go over? I know I had quite the list here.
I just need to look what you have left here.
Pretty much here to here. Yeah.
You know, some of these are well familiar with us, but you can just go to the next one. I think GLP.
All right. I haven't actually gone. I've actually looked at GLP. I haven't gone through it with my database and everything. So
Yeah.
they can own, control, or has access to a terminal of networks of refined petroleum products and renewable fuels. A couple different states, mostly the Northeast. Includes wholesale gasoline distribution and operations, as well as commercial. Wholesale segments include the logistics of selling, gathering, blending, storing, transporting refined petroleum products, all kinds of stuff to do with gas. It has a convenience store segment, rental income from the gasoline stations leased to dealers and sundries. The commercial segment includes sales and deliveries to end user customers in the public sector and commercial as well as industrial. So kind of a whole bunch of mix of different fuel type stuff. Really solid revenues, about 17 billion, which has been pretty average for the past few years, is right around that mark. Some decent insider buying.
Yeah.
Which is really just a partnership with them.
Okay.
But just continuing to buy all the way since last year.
Yeah.
Businesses looks like it's been doing pretty well. Margins all look pretty good. Book value looks pretty good. Trading just above book value. They pay a really good dividend.
Yeah, I saw the dividend there. And they have made some purchases also every year since almost like every year since 2018.
Yeah, and it looks like this year they had a lot of capex. They've paid a huge amount in capex.
Yeah, they did, but I saw operating expense was down quite a bit actually.
Yeah. They do have they do keep a pretty high amount of debt.
Yeah. Yeah, it says levered here, and it issued quite a bit of shares actually.
Yeah, but the share count really has remained pretty steady though for a long time.
Yeah, it does. So, but what do you? They don't have any cash, right?
No, they do not run cash positive. They pretty
No.
much run it right back into the business.
Yeah.
Which
Which is okay. Maybe a little bit of a different play than what we are used to, but you know, it does trade 18% to the 52-week high. This one, so it's already a little bit high.
and I will
But if you
say,
just look,
if you're looking at book value,
yeah,
you know, book value has been increasing, so that money that they're funneling back into the business is becoming assets.
yeah. Yeah, you know, they pay the dividend, they acquire, they make purchases. They have the debt is a little bit up, not a little bit. The debt is quite a bit up in the last 3 years. And actually, they have a big portion. I get 335 million in short-term debt now.
Yeah, I got just shy of that, but your number might be right. I'd have to double check it against the SEC.
So when is that? That will be due soon then. 25 probably. They have something due in 26.
They have $1 billion in senior notes.
Yeah.
They do have some preferred for their partnerships. I'm not a huge fan of the debt that's strapped on this thing, but
The senior notes is due 2032, so they have a little bit to go there.
yeah, no, they definitely have a long runway. It's not that it's
Yeah.
like immediately concerning. I just don't like that. It says a 1.5 billion senior secured credit facility that matures on 2026.
Yeah.
So that's going to have to get restructured. Which
Yeah,
as the interest rates come down, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, maybe. But if you go a bit further down, it's a bit weird. Like it says, the issuers will have the option to redeem up to 35% of the 2032 notes prior to January 15, 2027. And then it's like, it seems just very complicated.
Wait, where are you reading?
Hold on, I need to. Yeah, just go there at the end there where you are now.
Oh, okay.
At
I
the
see it. Have the option to redeem up to 35% of the 2032 notes prior to 2027 at a redemption price expressed as a percentage of principal amount of 108% plus accrued and unpaid interest. The issuers have the option to redeem the 2032 notes in whole or in part at any time on or after the 27th at a redemption price. Okay, so basically what it's saying is that before this, they can get a little bit of a premium essentially to buy those notes back before these dates. And then as you get closer and closer to their normal maturity date, they'll get less back for them essentially.
Yeah.
So it makes the notes a little bit more optionable, which sometimes attracts more people to them. Like people are going to buy your notes much more often if there's options like this, because you know, if things start to turn around or if things start to look uglier, they can get rid of the notes and buy them back quicker.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would imagine they're okay based on those numbers.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I said, margins look pretty good. This last year's not as good, but What is this CapEx that they spend all this money on?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I also have a big jump in almost have $6 per share in acquisition.
I guess they can also, just in the comments, they're talking about the preferred shares can be redeemed too. So the management can technically buy back the preferred shares as well.
Okay. Well, this does look like a steady, well-driven company, and it seems like they are shareholder friendly at least.
Yeah, I would agree.
Pouring money back into the company and out to the shareholders.
Yeah, and it sounds like because of the cyclicality of the business, that's probably why they have all these redemptions on the bonds and stuff like that. So, for instance, in times when gasoline's really killing it for them, they'll have a lot of extra cash during those times, which they can use to buy back those bonds and put themselves in a better balance sheet position.
Yeah.
So, hold on, I want to just put insider and put this on deck.
There's not a lot of volume in this, so.
The chart looks interesting here.
Yeah, what do you think about the daily chart, the 1-year daily?
I mean, everything's kind of consolidated right here. We've had this pull up and then we've had the pull back down, and it's kind of moving sideways. It looks like it's consolidating. So to me, it kind of looks like one of those flags where it could, the lows are getting higher. This looks like it could break out.
Yeah.
If you look at MACD, it looks like no one knows what the hell to do here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so and it had a little bit of a pullback now, but it will be interesting to follow this in the coming week, I think, just purely on the chart.
Yeah, and if you look at the weekly chart, pretty strong. I mean, it's definitely up for the past year.
Yeah.
And now we've pulled back, and you kind of have that little cup and handle here. I'm curious. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and this has good fundamentals too. I'm just
look at it. I mean, look.
Yeah, no, it does look good.
I mean, I know this was COVID, but even if you just subtract COVID, like if you just cut like this section right here out, it kind of just kept doing what it was doing.
Yeah.
So this maybe is a decent long-term type hold type thing.
Yeah, and I think that chart that you just showed matches the fundamental story here too.
Yeah. And I mean, it really rides the 10-day moving average like very consistently.
I'm just a little bit. I struggle a little bit to see how high this can go.
Well, we've already seen almost 50.
Yeah, and if you get a quick 20% on this, I think yeah, you should be happy.
Yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And the one thing, like I said, the insider buying's been really good.
Yeah, and I can't really figure it out now. It will have to be something I look more into. But last year they had 739 in operating expense, and now they only have 400. So it's quite a bit down, you know.
Well, I wonder.
And I wonder what.
Is that just from the
I think
capex and the money coming out?
Yeah, but if that's going to continue,
I would say that looks like it's a one-off thing, man.
yeah.
Like it's never been that high. It's almost
No,
11
the
times
capex
what
you
it's
mean?
ever been.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's a big jump in capex.
What I just want to. Is there a transcript? I want to see what they are saying.
Yeah, I saw the press release. It wasn't too many. It's just about dividends and presentations, mostly.
Is that number right? Because when I read here, it says capex in the second quarter was 15 million. We currently expect maintenance. Well, oh, that's maintenance capital expenditures.
Yeah. It seems very high, right?
Yeah, it does. It doesn't seem right to me.
But I also have it. I also have it very high. In the latest presentation I can find, they also say maintenance capex 8.9 million for Q2.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Here in the presentation, they have it a bit more clear with the debt. They say 400 million, 7% senior notes due 27, 350 million, 6.875 senior notes due 2029, and 450 million, 8.25% senior notes due 2032.
All right. So yeah, a good runway, and the fact that they can redeem them is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it looks like this one will trickle up higher. It looks like a pretty good long-term investment, though.
Yeah, maybe for another portfolio, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. But good company, solid company, and you see the growth both in the chart and the fundamentals, I think.
Right.
And the fact, like, let me check, at least in my data set here, the dividend is now the second highest it has ever been. So that's pretty good if you're after the dividend.
Yeah, I would agree.
These last 3 years looks pretty solid for them. A lot of energy companies today.
Yeah, just happen to be moving, but a lot of insider buys, which make me wonder if like all these guys are cyclical energy guys, and they're all buying this heavily right now. It makes me think we could be at the bottom of the cycle.
Yeah, that strengthened the point in PBF, right? For me.
Yeah.
That maybe you should jump in there now. I also saw a lot of insider purchases in the move sheet and also in the daily movers on Friday. Because I think there has been a little bit of a period where you have seen a lack of insider buying now, and now I saw a lot.
Why does my price say $26
here? What are you looking at now? Oh, 26. Yeah, I don't have that. I have 43.
Where the hell is it getting this number from? I was just thinking, I was like, that price isn't right. What is going on here? Hang on, let me check something real quick.
Maybe you have a special discount deal, Dane.
I'll buy at 23.
Yeah.
Oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
But your market cap was 1.4 billion or what?
Is this saying preferred B? Is that what this has listed? Why would you give me the preferred B? It had the preferred shares. Stupid thing.
Okay.
This is why I have to check this stuff, because sometimes, like, why would it default to preferred shares?
You need to ask Bill Gates.
Nice job, Bill.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a sec to update it now, but 43 looks better.
But does it mess up your the rest of your data, or?
Yeah, market cap here, I won't know.
I'm just trying to look what I have. I think you have the right data there on the remaining parts.
A lot of this stuff gets pulled in from another area, so it's probably fine. It's just these numbers over here weren't accurate, which what it throws off is like my metrics.
Yeah. Okay.
So not really a big deal, because this fundamental stuff, this all comes in on here, not.
Yeah, because just having a quick look now, they seem very close to what I have, so I think you have been good on those.
Yeah, no, it actually works out well that even though these sometimes come up, it doesn't matter. Actually, you know what? I don't really think barely anything comes from this. In terms of this sheet. Oh, you know what it did mess with? It messed with these. So I thought the valuation seemed awfully low for these.
Oh, those, yeah.
So that part changed, but whatever. It doesn't really matter.
No.
I was thinking, like if this had a big pullback, I don't know. What does a longer term chart look like here? I don't know, $35 to 55 if we continue in the right direction here.
Yeah.
These numbers are totally arbitrary to anybody who's looking at these numbers. Don't care about what they. It just kind of provides me a ballpark range of where I think it's going to kind of move around in.
I think you can definitely argue will go up to 50 again at least.
Well, and that's another thing too. People have talked about getting the sheets from us, and this is why we don't give out the sheets, because little errors like that come up, and like I know how to quickly fix that. But if you didn't build this, you're not going to know what's going on. And like if you make a decision based on something like that, you end up losing money because of a number. Like it sucks.
And not only that, but you might even not be aware.
Right.
Know?
There's a good chance you're not aware.
Yeah. So, but we have said it before, and I know, for example, Max have asked questions on Discord to me that I've tried to help him with building out his own versions of this type of sheet. So we are more than willing to help everyone who has questions and stuff, because it's frustrating at times.
Oh my gosh, the first year of trying to build this out. Don't get me wrong, it made me 10 times a better investor. I learned so much by doing that, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And all these financial terms, and people have different calculations and stuff like that. Oh, especially if you don't speak English.
Yeah, I give you a lot of credit, man.
Yeah.
You're in a total different ballpark than me.
But I have to say also though, that's how I met you. I to ask questions on forums and stuff. People are very helpful.
Right. No, I agree.
And also those guys who are in those those help sites for Google Sheets specifically and stuff like that. Holy shit! I got a pretty complicated formula. I think at least it was for me for free. There was one guy who just showed me how to do it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So thank you to him.
All right, well, I think we're going to end it there.
Yeah.
Overall, though, good week. I thought we found some interesting stuff today. I'll definitely keep an eye on stuff. We'll see Monday what kind of starts moving, and I do have a little bit of cash that I can throw into some names, probably if I see anything that looks like it's standing out to me.
I have to say, throughout the stream, PBF just sailed up as a big contender for perhaps one of my next purchases, but I might not get in there. But I'm gonna track it very closely this coming couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of names we didn't even get to that I thought looked good for some reason. So maybe tomorrow, if I get a chance, I'll try and keep going through those or whatnot. But other than that, I think we'll call it there, guys. I hope everybody has a good rest of your weekend. Thanks anybody who tuned in. Thank you guys for all your support. Anybody who likes or subscribes to the channel, appreciate it. And
and come to the Discord, everyone. We need people in Discord.
Yeah, keep coming to the Discord. I'm trying to log in more often and just check the chat and stuff like that. Like I said, I'll try and post some of the stuff early in the morning on what I'm if I did buy something, just so you guys can see my timing of it. And obviously, do not buy if I just bought, because the timing of things can get real risky in the morning. I might be getting out of it. I might stay in it. Who knows? Yeah.
I think like stuff exactly like this, when we have a lot of tickers, because I also have a list of tickers also, and now we're gonna end the stream. But if we see something, we can post it on the Discord, and maybe have a discussion there.
Right. Especially stuff like you said we're not getting to.
Yeah. Oh, hey Brett, I haven't seen your name in the chat before, so thanks for tuning in and watching, Brett, and thanks for the comment.
I accidentally closed my YouTube, so I have no idea what people are saying.
Brett is saying thanks, guys. Great stuff. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Everybody have a good rest of your weekend.